Dude, I mean, nothing's confirmed at this point, and some of the stuff in those leaks has kind of been debunked. I would say. I'd say the Stormwind thing is probably relatively unlikely at this point.
You mean you don't think Sylvanas is gonna blow up Stormwind or something?
I think she wants Stormwind, but I don't really know. I don't really understand why. And that was highlighted in the book that she wanted Stormwind, but I don't really understand the purpose, which is kind of the big flaw with Sylvanas' character from a player perspective. Is like we don't really get to understand why the fuck she's done most of what she's done.
Yeah.
But have you seen the little Horde loyalist cinematic thing?
The cuck cinematic? Yeah, I've seen that.
The
Come on, dude.
The cuck cinematic.
Yeah. Come on. I mean, like, is it not?
I mean, listen.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess I'm a cuck, man. Like,
really?
Dude, I sided with Sylvanas the whole time. What do you mean? Of course.
Oh man, dude.
Of course, dude.
Okay, dude.
But what she says in the cinematic is kind of illustrative of the reason why I did that, right? Like this is what she says. Saurfang's ill-considered challenge may have ended the war prematurely, but it doesn't matter now. Countless souls have been fed to the hungering darkness. Though I cared nothing for the living, I did pity the forsaken. For the great injustice that made them what they are, I understand the cruelty of fate better than anyone. And then she says this: my bargain with Ashara will yet bear fruit. The armies of Azeroth will fight her master, N'Zoth, obviously, and he will line their streets with corpses. In the end, he too will serve death.
And death is capitalized.
Yeah. And death is capitalized. That's very true. So but
why?
Well, because death is a force in WoW, but also an entity and a being. As I've been pointing out for like, I don't know, probably like 2 years now, maybe 2.5 years. That Argus is death, and that like actually, and McCool made fun of me for this. That motherfucker. Because I was saying, well, not because of this, but Sylvanas was working with N'Zoth, which is, as she literally just admits, is true. And the whole thing with the Ashara was a ruse, which turned out to be true. And that N'Zoth is in some capacity connected with death, and that all this has to do with death and like the ending in order to bring about new beginnings. And it's literally saying, obviously, right here, in the end, he too, N'Zoth, will serve death. So I'm just give myself a +1 on that, just for the record.
Okay. So what do you think about? Do you think Shadowlands is actually going to come out after this?
I mean, I don't know if it's going to be something that happens directly after BFA or like. I kind of toyed with the idea that it would be a patch, but that's like a ridiculously big patch, like with how many dungeons were apparently listed.
To be fair, I didn't expect Argus to be a patch either.
That's pretty true, and while I don't think Argus was entirely like terrible personally. Obviously, like you ran out of content relatively quickly, and then there wasn't that much left. But that's kind of just World of Warcraft.
Right.
With that being said, though, I think it's probably inevitable that we go to the Shadowlands. Yeah. Whether it's this next expansion or not is kind of irrelevant. But I think we'll have to go there at some point. Because I think with all this emphasis on death, and this is what another thing Sylvanas says: enough reflection, there are preparations to be made. Nothing lasts. When you next see me, you will understand. And I think that's kind of hinting at this aspect of death and how she's been kind of serving death this whole time. And I think that we're inevitably kind of moving towards that shadow and that death aspect, because it's really like one of the things in WoW that we have yet to truly like understand. Understand.
So do you think like death is going to be a person or like something that you interact with, or is it just like kind of a force?
Well, I think things like life and death are represented as a force, but I think in WoW, it goes a little bit further beyond that, because there are gods that kind of represent those forces, and not only
like
represent,
ANR, for
but
example, right? Is like the
exactly, like,
yeah, represents life. Okay.
I don't see, like, when people look at like characters like ANR, right? They see and I should be careful about how I word this, but they see a representation of life. When I look at ANR, I see life. Not just the representation of, but the literal conduit of life.
Yeah, like the progenitor of life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think Azeroth would be the progenitor of light and creation, which life cannot exist without. But at the same time, when you have that light, you have a shadow that is generally born of said light. And I think that's Argus, and that's death and uncreation. So I think another thing that Sylvanas says here is my bargain with Ashara. Oh, no, she says, but despite all I taught them, they stubbornly clung to hope, to life. They will learn. So it's interesting. She relates hope to life right there. They will learn the truth along with all the rest. And this is so dumb by Blizzard, because with how they've set Sylvanas up, to the average person reading that, they're just like, Sylvanas just sounds, I'm going to use a quote from somebody else. Sylvanas sounds like an evil, mustache twirling bad guy.
Yes,
but
that's about right. And I feel like also, like, the thing with her killing Saurfang and, like, saying all the negative stuff about the Horde, I feel like they've kind of written her into a corner where you can't really redeem her as a character after this. That's, like, a big concern that I have, is it feels like she's kind of irredeemable.
I think that's understandable.
Yeah,
sorry.
And I think that for a lot of players, like, at this point, they're like, yeah, fuck Sylvanas. It doesn't matter if she has, like, a good plan or not. You know, she's a bitch, basically. And so, like... Yeah. I don't think people would respect if they did do something that was kind of allowing them. Oh my god, dude. All right, just give me 1 second, okay? So,
no, take it.
Have you been playing Classic?
No, bro.
Okay.
No.
Well, that's if you were playing Classic, like, you would understand this. This is honestly the worst fucking farm in my entire life. There is a 1 in 6 chance of a mob to spawn, and then outside of that, there's 1 in 5, or probably 1 in 10 chance for him to drop an item that's really good. He just spawned.
Oh. Good luck. Good luck. Is that the item? That looks like the item, dude.
What the fuck?
It's that loot luck, bro. Did you know?
Oh,
I give a
my
plus
God.
10 to loot luck, dude.
Yeah, thanks, dude. Oh my fucking god, dude. Oh my fucking god. I've been going for this for weeks, man. Oh my god. Wow.
Assuming you win the roll, right? You know, obviously that mage could use it.
Yeah, you never know. I had a dream about that, man. Oh my fucking god.
Hell yeah, dude.
I cannot believe it, man. Shit. Okay, you know what?
Crit.
I'm gonna use this luck. Let's go do Iron Foe, man. Let's go get Iron Foe. Fuck it, man. I've got plenty. Oh my, dude. Ooh.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yes, dude. Yes, dude. I'm so happy, man. Okay, holy fucking shit. When it rains, it pours. Awesome. Yes, we're gonna go get Iron Foe, man. Oh my fucking god.
What is that? What does Iron Foe drop? Or is that what it's
an item. It drops off the last boss. And hopefully,
good luck.
It's gonna be a while to even get over there. But no, I'm very, very. I can't even fucking believe it, man. I've been going for this.
I'm sorry.
You have no idea. I've been going for this for like a week straight, at least a week straight, just going for this one specific item, and I can't believe it that I finally got it.
That feels like a long time, dude, especially when you've been farming, man.
Yeah, it's like all fucking day, like hour after hour. Kill the guy who drops Boreal Mantle. I don't know who drops it, but if we go up to him, then yeah, sure. But no, holy fucking shit, man. We actually got it, dude.
That's so sick, dude.
Congrats.
Does it look cool? I don't
even
chat,
know,
I'm sorry, I don't know anything about it. I don't know Classic, dude.
I don't even know what it looks like.
Sorry.
Oh my god, dude.
Oh, that tabard's coming. Oh, it's like chainmail. Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah, look at that those sleek smooth pecs and the definition on the abdominals. Give me the gotcha bases in chat.
His belly button out, man. Like I look, all right, I've got to wear a tabard. Look, I'm the GM, man, so I've got to wear the guild tabard. Oh my god, dude.
It's a crop top, dude. You can
Oh, it's a fuck yeah, he's literally wearing a fucking crop top. To be fair, the last chest piece I had was also a crop top too, though. So I'm basically replacing one with another. One problem with another one. All right, we'll kill these guys here. So I am so glad to be done with this shit. Like, now I'm thinking about getting Iron Foe. Like, I can maybe go get the chromatic one too. Like, I don't know if I want to go after that now after I just got this though. Chromatic one would be better for tanking. I'm not really sure yet. Just transmog it. That's a good idea. Yeah, I can just use transmog. It's a great idea actually. Okay.
Yeah, just smog it.
Yeah. So anyway. Wow. Okay. It's gonna take me a while to get over that. I'm just so glad that I'm finished with that, man. So you're saying growing arms is bad? Well, yeah, anyway, I'll deal with that later. So here's pretty much the way that I see it. Is that like, do you think that like Sylvanas has like a master that's like making all these plans and like telling her like that's basically death? Because that's the big question that I have is like, who's in charge of Sylvanas?
I think Sylvanas has in a couple different ways allied with forces of death. I think Helio's probably the best instance.
Okay.
Like the best example of that. There's also some rather like foreshadowist quotes from characters like Gul'dan that say things like, in the end, death will inherit this world and she will be waiting. And then after Sargeras took a giant sword that I've speculated for about a year and a half now, was imbued with the sheer, like the raw power of death and stabbed it into the world, Sylvanas started acting like a crazy person. Well, even more so than normal.
Yeah.
I've been saying for quite a while now, I think that Sylvanas is serving the Burning Legion. And I think that because Sargeras had been utilizing the power of death to basically go on this crusade, I mean, I think that essentially it's all like a huge tie-in with death. I mean, think about
so you really think
about what Sargeras
you think she's
was
working with the Burning Legion? I don't know. I feel like that's
yeah,
that's huge, man. Like what makes you think that?
I mean, let's not forget that this bitch literally worked with dreadlords to craft a plague that would wipe out every form of life on the entire planet. Like, why is that even far-fetched? Is it even far-fetched to think that the plague is like fel-based to an extent? Like something about it literally kills everything. Like,
yeah.
Like, chat, listen. Chat, listen. First off, go read a fucking book, okay? Fight me. The second thing is, a lot of people forget that this game, and Chris Metzen has said this in interviews, this game is so far beyond a Horde and Alliance conflict. It's what you see the most of because it's in the game more than anything else. But people really, really don't grasp the fact that there is a cosmic war going on, like, at the grand scheme of things. Like, none of the stuff that we've experienced in the game even happens without the consideration of everything that happens at a higher level. Like, the whole Titan War thing with Sargeras and the Pantheon, that's literally like the entire plot line for everything that's happened in the game thus far.
That's actually a really good point, yeah. Because that's like the whole Burning Legion and like the Burning Crusade. That's like all about that, you know?
And I think that's part of why Sylvanas says shit like the Horde is nothing. Because in the grand scheme of things, she's not wrong. Like, when you're looking at cosmic battles, yeah, the Horde's not really that important.
No.
When you're talking about a cosmic battle of life versus death, it's not. The Horde is so much lower. The Horde and Alliance thing is not even close to on the same level.
Mm-hmm.
But the point really that I'm getting at is the reason that I think that, and there's several reasons, but the reason that I think that Sylvanas is in some capacity, I don't know if I'd call her an agent of the Burning Legion, but in some way carrying out what the Burning Legion would probably want to happen.
Okay.
I mean, I think that her alignment with death, her seemingly wanting to kind of be a master over death, all the claims that, you know, everyone serves death in the end. And I'm going to be honest, like, while Sargeras may have been like a really powerful and brave and potentially valorous warrior, I don't think he's necessarily the master tactician that everyone would, you know, not everyone, but some people would like to think that he is.
He's like 80 years old or something. He's like, how old is Saurfang? Is it 82 years old?
No, not Saurfang. Sargeras. The Titan.
Oh, Sargeras is
the one that we imprisoned.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm saying, like, for the Burning Legion, I don't think that he was necessarily the brains of everything that the Legion had done, and considering that he was harnessing the power of death, I think that it's possible that the mastermind behind what the Legion was basically doing, executing the will of Death, was probably Death himself. So in a capacity, everyone, including the leader of the Burning Legion, was serving Death in a capacity. And in the end, according to Sylvanas, there's going to be some truth that we're going to be shown, you know, that the living still can't accept for some reason. And
don't you feel like maybe it's just simpler than that, and it's just like an existential thing? Because, like, you know, she had like that whole thing in ICC. I felt like it was just like an existential statement more than anything. Like, well, the whole thing in ICC is like in regards to like her killing herself, or what? Yeah, and then like only seeing Oblivion and everything.
Well, that's an interesting thing. When you read about that, a lot of people are like, "Oh, Sylvanas saw the Shadowlands," because no one fucking reads. So if I asked chat, I bet 99% of people would say, "Oh, she saw the Shadowlands when she died." But if they actually go and read it, it talks about how she stared into the infinite void, not into the Shadowlands. It's not even. This is just one of those things you gotta look a little bit deeper into. I feel like if it was more simple, why would they be drawing it out like this and not actually revealing the motivations of Sylvanas' plans the entire time, right?
I don't know. If it was to keep people engaged, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm not even sure if that's the goal. I'm not even sure if that's working anymore.
Well, I don't know. I feel like, I mean, a lot of people probably weren't happy with like the cinematic, but I think that they just weren't happy with the outcome of the cinematic.
No one's happy about anything in this game anymore. Let's be honest.
Yeah, there is that too. That's definitely true. I don't know. Like, to me, I like the cinematic. I thought that like the whole thing with like Saurfang like dying basically to, you know, galvanize the Horde against Sylvanas was actually a really good idea. You know,
I agree.
And it's like I'm surprised more people don't really see that. But you know, I guess it's kind of like, you know, I don't know. It just doesn't really translate very well. It's not as relatable, I guess. And or
yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
Yeah, it's tough to see like from an external standpoint when you haven't when you don't have screenshots and quotes and snippets from books that tie all these things together. It's really difficult to understand, and that's an unfortunate side effect of Blizzard not putting most of the storytelling of the game inside the game. A lot of it is in books.
It's a big problem. Like, I've been talking about that for a while. Like, in my opinion, I think if they're doing these lore quests, they should make it to where they don't have the quest trackers on them. I'd love to see that, because right now it feels like there's not really what do you call it? There's not really an incentive for people to actually go through and like learn this stuff, because they're not really. It doesn't matter, you know. If they just follow the quest tracker and they just go where they're told to go, then, you know, there's no reason for them to go out of their way to try to figure out like, oh, what is this quest really trying to say, or anything like that. And I think that's a huge problem, honestly. And, you know, like, I feel like a lot of people that think that like, oh, the lore doesn't make any sense or whatever, like, to them it probably doesn't, because all the storytelling is going on somewhere else, like what you were saying.
Yeah, and I mean, it's anywhere from books to short stories to whatever. I don't understand. Chat, listen. Relax, guys. Some people are getting very, very like offended and like.
Really? Like,
I don't know. Yeah, people are getting very upset about what I'm saying. I don't really.
What are they upset? What are they getting upset about?
Well, apparently, because people don't. And obviously, I'm not gonna let chat get to me, but apparently because
it's okay. I do every day.
Because I'm trying to emphasize the idea that people should probably read before trying to go on and say they're any form of lore expert. When a lot of people don't even read the quest text, like, the people are getting offended at that, and apparently I'm on a high horse because
there's like 3 people in chat. There's like 50,000 people watching, dude. There's like three idiots. Like, honestly, if people are rude or whatever, we usually just ban them and say fuck it, right? I mean, like, there's there's no reason to talk to them about it or whatever. Just fucking ban them and get over with it. You know, that's about it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's
fair enough. As far as back to the, sorry, I was gonna say back to the cinematic.
Right.
I'll close chat. Back to the cinematic. I thought, I mean, it kind of goes without saying, the cinematic was amazing looking. I mean, all those cinematics, those high-res cinematics look fucking crazy.
Very true.
So Saurfang challenging Sylvanas to Mak'gora is not something that I anticipated at all. And when I was gonna watch the cinematic on live stream, because you know those kind of live reactions are more fun. But I couldn't help myself, so I just watched it when I woke up in the morning.
Yeah.
And I was like really shocked when Saurfang said that and challenges her to Makara, because I know instantly that he's going to die. Like,
yeah,
I'm sorry, but as you mentioned in your tweet,
he's an 80-year-old. He's an 80-year-old man. Like, he's an 80-year-old man. It's like in WoW. I'm sorry, but it's just it's really depressing. Like, playing a warrior in this game, it's hard, man. Like, all you do is take L's. Like, everybody.
But they die with honor, though. Asmon, isn't that important? You just die with honor.
Got one shot by some bullshit ass ability that shouldn't even happen. Like, I mean, it's like, come on. And like, even before that, she was just like, she's beating his ass anyway. Like, and like,
yeah, maybe
Saurfang in his prime would have more of a chance, but I mean, she's still like a ranger general with like thousands of years of combat experience. Like, it's. And he's
a very resilient body and
yeah,
thousands of years of combat expertise.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, big surprise. Saurfang's not going to come out ahead there. I think everybody kind of expected that. But no, dying with honor is classic war experience. No, it's like it's the same thing as in classic. Like, because I got PTSD from watching it. I'm sitting here fucking playing classic WoW, getting kited around constantly, and then I watch a fucking cinematic of a fucking rogue basically parrying all of a warrior's attacks and dodging the other half, and then the warrior gets one good hit off, and then the rogue uses an engineering trinket and kills the warrior. Like, I'm fucking mad, dude. I'm mad. I'm sick of this shit.
I mean, yeah. If
it's a Varian, Garrosh. Like, now we have this, like, this is fucking crazy, dude.
They die with honor, though, man. That's yeah, I mean, here's the thing. When it comes to Sylvanas, like,
yeah,
as much as like, I think Sylvanas is an interesting character.
Yeah.
And I like when they take characters and make them really bad for a good purpose. That's part of why I like Sargeras. It's part of why I liked Illidan as a character. I just think that's more interesting than like, let's just be the good guy to be the good guy, and valor and honor, and it's like, that's so fucking boring, man. If I wanted that, I'd just play a fucking paladin. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, and that's boring too. So trust me, I totally understand that. And you play a warlock, right?
I do.
Okay, yeah. There we go. You know, like what is more morally gray than a warlock? I don't even know. But no, here's the point, right? Is like, yeah. I agree. It's like Saurfang obviously was not going to come out ahead. Like, he obviously wasn't going to come out ahead. People thought Saurfang was going to win. There's no way. Like, I think people don't realize the fact that, like, he's 80 years old. And like, orcs age the same as humans, right? Basically.
Pretty much. Sylvanas is not. I mean, she's not thousands of years old, but she doesn't age anymore. So
yeah,
you know, and she doesn't really like undergo the same kinds of limitations as a mortal does because of what she is.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, there's no way that he was going to come out ahead there. Like, it just wasn't going to happen. And so, like, I don't know. I think that was his plan all along. You know, is like he was going to try to just like die an honorable warrior's death. And I feel like Saurfang, like before, I had always said that like Saurfang, there's no way he's coming out of this expansion alive, right? Because it just wouldn't make any sense in my mind. I thought they kind of like had to die in this expansion.
Yeah, I mean, especially with like all the foreshadowing about him dying.
Yeah, and then like his son and everything like that.
20.
It just made sense.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Sylvanas is. I don't. From a direct standpoint, Sylvanas has failed a lot. Pretty much the entire expansion, Sylvanas has failed, and kind of honestly, her past leading up to this has kind of been filled with failure. I mean, she failed to protect her people. She failed to stop the Lich King. She failed to even defeat the Lich King herself. She
Lich King.
She failed at Teldrassil by trying to kill Hope, which obviously didn't work. She failed to win at Lordaeron. She failed with the whole in the book Before the Storm, the whole meeting at Stromgarde that was arranged between the citizens of Stormwind and those who had fallen at Lordaeron. She kind of failed there, and she failed to kill Hope with Saurfang. Like, sure, she fucking blasted Saurfang and killed him, but the point is that Hope kind of
they're
kicking.
still on his side even though he died. Even though he died, he still won in a way, because the war ended.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the war, the war's kind of is dying down. I guess from all the text that I was reading this morning, that's how it's supposed to be perceived. But I don't know, she still failed. Like, and I think that's one of those things. Like, you can't, like what Saurfang was saying to her, you can't kill Hope. And that's an interesting thing, because I've pointed out in some of the videos in the past that Hope in Warcraft is kind of like it's kind of like God mode. Mm-hmm. Like if you have Hope, you can do shit that's
like
Anduin
not really
in the
supposed
BFA
to be possible. Cinematic.
Yeah, exactly. Or anything like the Kali, like the whole resurrection of Kalia Menethil thing.
Yeah.
The thing that she says when she's resurrected is what does she say? Where hope exists, you make room for healing for all things that are possible and some that are not. Basically, she's saying, like, with hope, you can literally do things that are impossible.
So what's Sylvanas feeding?
So what is like?
Yeah, what's she feeding? To the endless void?
Souls.
How does that work? Is this like
I don't
Frostmourne hungers or what?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, she just says. What does she say? Countless souls have been fed to the hungering darkness.
Yeah.
Which is pretty Monka W.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like, I mean, is this like this isn't the Void Lords, I'm pretty sure. You know, because it's like that. I feel like that would be different because that would like kind of ally her with her sister. So we're not really ally her, but like kind of. And so
well, I mean,
I don't think that really makes a lot of sense either.
The whole fucking, I don't know, the whole Void Lord thing. I really wish they wouldn't have ever written that in. Because there's a bunch of reasons why it doesn't make sense. Like the fact that we fought Void Lords, but that's a different discussion, I suppose.
Yeah.
But just more so that, like, if the Void and Light are at such odds with one another, how come the Alliance has the Light Forged and the Void Elves on the same faction? Like,
bruh.
Wouldn't it have made more sense?
That's true.
I mean, wouldn't it have made more sense that they put Void on like the Horde and like Light on the other?
To be fair, I thought that the Void Elves should have been on the Horde too. Like they already have Blood Elves. Why don't they have emo Blood Elves too? Like it seems, it makes sense.
I mean, the thing is, like, from the whispers in Illyria's head that come from the Three Sisters comic.
Yeah.
Where the Void is like telling her to kill Sylvanas because she's a threat. Like the Void obviously doesn't like Sylvanas very much. So whatever she's doing in regards to death seems to be working
against the
Void. At least from what we could tell. Yeah, against the Void. Well, the Light, as far as like what it does in regards to Light Forged and stuff, isn't exactly the most death friendly force either. Like the Light is generally about sustaining and stasis and keeping things alive. So I don't really think that it makes, I don't know. Basically what I'm getting at is inevitably the Light turns into the Void if we were to just literally go off what's written in Chronicle.
So it's like two sides of the same coin. Like, is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah. It's
Do you think that we'll see like more of the like things like Zera or whatever? I forgot what her name was in like the yeah, more like evil Naru kind of that are still light. Almost like basically the Scarlet Crusade, but, you know, actual light people or whatever.
There will probably come a time where we fight against forces of the light. I don't know when that's going to be, but with the whole Yrel space goat light Nazi thing, I don't know if they're ever going to bring that into play legitimately.
Yeah.
I don't know if Kalia Menethil being resurrected as a light forged, a light bound undead is ever going to be like a big story point moving forward.
Yeah.
The way that they've set this up, and especially the emphasis on it in the book, would kind of make it seem that that's going to be the case, but I'm not really sure. As far as Sylvanas right now, I don't know where I guess she flew off to the Spire, and then you have that.
She flew back. That like, I hate it whenever there are like movies or books, and like it's like, imagine you're a cop show, okay, and the main murderer just kills somebody and he gets away. where would you go?
If you were the murderer?
No, where if you were the cop?
Oh. I mean, I guess this is like very... This is a broad question.
The first thing I would do is I'd go to their house.
Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I'd go to their house.
As long as you know who the murderer is.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. You know who it is. Right.
Okay. I was going to say, do we know who it is?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody's got a good idea on who it is this time. You know?
Well,
and, yeah, they know what's going on. And,
fair enough.
Yeah, it was like nobody thought to go over there. No, everybody just thought just let her woohoo, fly away. That was a little bit confusing to me, I'll be honest.
Guess everyone forgot that Windrunner Spire is the thing. I don't. She flew away pretty fast, man. She's got some jet engines on there. I didn't know that she could do that.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, like,
apparently she can do that.
I guess no. I mean, she did that in the Lordaeron cinematic too. Remember?
Oh, true. Yeah, she flew up out of the building. I didn't know she could fly. Like that bitch flew out into space in this last cinematic. I don't know where the fuck.
Yeah. It's a little bit weird. But like, I don't know. I feel like in general, that always like those kinds of things where like it doesn't make sense in that way. It always kind of bothers me. But I like the cinematic. Like, the cinematic was good, and I think that like the only issue that I have really now is that I feel like they have written her to be an irredeemable character. Right.
And that could very well be the case.
Yeah.
And
she's
with what they're... Oh, I was just gonna say, like, with the whole Sylvanas loyalist thing.
Yeah.
They're really driving at that idea with the dialogue that they're putting into the game of like, even for the people who were loyalists who will now get a buff on their character showing that they were, even with them, there's some dialogue that's like talking about how Sylvanas like deceived them and betrayed them and lied to them. So they're even for those that tried to be supportive of the whatever Sylvanas was doing.
Right.
Even now, Blizzard is driving this
that they've even been deceived.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're I don't know how I feel about that kind of stuff. It's kind of, I don't understand. Like Blizzard has a real kind of a weird roundabout way of getting things like this done. And I think for a lot of players that can make it feel like there was no point. Like if she was just going to kill Saurfang in the end anyway, and we were going to basically be set up to basically be deceived or lied to or whatever, like why even...
Well, I feel like I use this example, right, with like Scooby-Doo. It's like in Scooby-Doo, whenever they find out who the criminal is at the end, right, they go back and they play the different clips later on, the earlier part of the show, that kind of showed that person as being the bad guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, like, I feel like the player should be able to look back in the story and say, oh, this is why she did this, or this is why she did that. And if you can't go back and explain that through the story, then it's not very good writing, in my opinion. Because then, like, the player feels like they're deceived.
Yeah, and I remember we talked about that in regards to, like, Chronicle before, about how there's, like, there's that idea that's there, but is it effective when like, the revelation comes?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if they did a better job of illustrating the different story points that tie it together in the game, I think it would be easier to accept if it were true, right? Like that's assuming that that's true. But I think that when it's so spread out like Blizzard's done, it's kind of for most players, like that's never going to
going on. Like
yeah,
that's the thing,
it's never going to fucking work.
You've got half the lore in the story. You have these books that are basically like the encyclopedias of the game. And it's like all of this other weird shit that's all coming together. And then it's like, so unless you're going out of your way to figure out how it all fits together, you don't know how it all fits together. And I think that's a huge problem. And like, because I see people all the time like saying, oh, well, I thought this was about this thing, or I thought this was about this thing. And like, even me, like, I don't really spend a whole lot of time like looking at lore. But even I know it's like, no, that's not what it's about at all. And it's like, why does this person not know? And like, you compare it to like, I use the example of like the Van Cleef thing in Classic WoW. Everybody knows why Van Cleef had a problem with Stormwind. Everybody knows that, you know, people, oh, Van Cleef did nothing wrong or whatever, right? Why do they know that? Because the quests made them read and learn about the problems that they had. And I think that if the game did more of that, oh my God, it'd be so much better. Like, it's just like right now,
I
if
agree.
you just follow, you go to the little circle that says 1 on your map, and you just go complete that quest. I mean, you know, not a lot of critical thinking involved.
It doesn't fucking help that, like, 90% of the time, Sylvanas isn't even actually present in the game. Like, her character's not around. Like, you don't see or interact with her that much outside of if you play the Loyalist questline.
Yeah.
And you don't get that insight at all as to, like, what she says about these actions and her kind of thoughts about it. None of that's exposed if you don't actually play the questline. And that was kind of like a fucked up thing with class order halls too. Class order halls were sick, like, don't get me wrong. I thought they were one of the coolest things they've ever done. But if you didn't play a priest, like, there's a lot of valuable information that you could gain from playing the priest.
Well, I feel
exactly.
like that's kind of cool.
Don't get any of it.
Like, I'm okay with
that.
Yeah,
I guess it's like more unique.
Yeah, because each class was like a different perspective on the lore. But I do think that there should be ways for the other classes to have like an idea of like what's going on too. Because like you had the same thing with like Shadowmourne too. I mean, Shadowmourne was kind of the same thing. Atiesh to a certain extent, and then even like let's see, the Fangs of the Father, and you know, the other like legendary quest lines also kind of, you know, showed a little bit of the lore and explained things, but it didn't explain things. That the difference is that I don't think it explained things so much so that it kind of took away from what was already in the game already. And I think that's the difference.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. When it comes to, most people would never use this probably, but they could have taken like, you know those artifact book things that you, like your artifact knowledge book, that the more you learned about your artifact, the more you could read about it. Like if they like took that and put it in a place where any character of any class could go and like access that and read about that.
Kind of like how people were able to click on the like little statue in Dalaran to watch the Lich King cinematic. Yeah,
like something where even if you didn't play that class, you could still access that information.
Yeah.
But anyway, like, regardless.
Yeah.
Of all
anyway,
that.
we can go back to what I was saying, what I was asking before. So you think that like where does this lead? What is Sylvanas' next? What's her next step?
Well, I can't say for sure, like, obviously what her next step is. I think with how unpredictable Sylvanas has been in most aspects, I don't know that you can really even say at this point. But based on what she's saying in her dialogue, I mean, my bargain with Ashara will yet bear fruit. N'Zoth will apparently line our streets with corpses, and in the end, he too will serve death. And nothing lasts apparently. So when we next see her, we will understand. So there's apparently, in her opinion, there's still something that we are not seeing. We don't see the truth, and it's an interesting thing she says in the cinematic too. I think she says something along the lines of, "If only you could all see yourselves as I see you." And I'm just sitting here thinking, like, well, Sylvanas, it'd be great if you would elaborate on that a little bit.
Okay, well then, please elaborate and let us know what we're doing wrong here.
Could you please, let me know, because I don't, you're not really helping anybody here by saying shit like that. So, I don't know, maybe I kind of think that for a while now, I've thought that there's like a death of everything that's coming in WoW. I mean, if you're logged into retail, I know retail Omegalol. If you're logged into retail, you should read the flavor text on your Heart of Azeroth, because as of right now, our planet is dying, and the flavor text on the Heart of Azeroth says, I think it says, "Born from the champions," or no, a living symbol of hope, born from the champions of a dying world. The fate of Azeroth will be shared by all her children. And I don't know.
It says that on the neck right now?
If Azeroth dies,
shit,
then do we die? Does everything die? And the thing is even if that happens, death is not the end. There's a Shadowlands, and that's kind of why I think it's likely that the Shadowlands is probably the next place that we'll go.
One second. I'm gonna do UBRS. So I need 5 more people. 5 more people for UBS, preferably a dedicated tank, but if not, that's whatever. Not a big deal. We're gonna finish this, and then we'll be good to go back over to Stormwind and do the recruitment thing. Which variant instance of classic BRD? I'm doing it right now. So no, I don't know. I feel like it's gonna happen for sure now. Like, there's no way it's not gonna happen in my opinion, because like right now, I mean, they've already
the Shadowlands shit?
Yeah. Oh fuck yeah, dude. 100%.
Yeah. 100%. Like there's
no,
gonna be a time where we fucking die. Like, this isn't gonna. They're not, as much as people want to like think this. The heroes and the champions and the faction leaders and everything is not just gonna fucking last for infinity.
Yeah.
Like, there's gonna be a time where the shit is gonna fall apart, and either all of us or half of us are gonna fucking die. Something is gonna happen.
So do you think they're gonna go for like a hard reset in the game? Like, I mean, what do you think about that? Because I've talked about that before. I
think they should. Like, why not?
Really?
Why the fuck not? We're already at 120 levels. That's a lot of levels, man. 120 levels to climb. We have a ton of content in the game that's, for lack of a better term, like relatively it's outdated. Like, people have no interest in experiencing it. They just want to rush through it because the end game is where WoW retail is. And that's kind of like a stark contrast to Classic, because the Classic is like, most of the game is experienced in the journey of leveling, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like retail is the exact opposite. Everything in WoW retail happens at the end game, and leveling doesn't fucking matter at all. I mean, there's obviously end game to Classic, but like, isn't, for most people anyway, I feel like most
the leveling
of the
experience,
the thing is leveling.
If like, let's say you play the game for 6 months casually, 5 of those months you're probably going to spend leveling. You know, 4 of those months you're probably going to spend leveling. So like, yeah, for a lot of people that's absolutely true. I mean, not like, of course it's not the same for every single person, but for the most part, yeah, absolutely, 100%. Like, and that's why people are so positive about Classic. You know, they're very opinionated about like how people are leveling and everything like that, because they view that as being the, you know, the authentic experience,
like cheating,
what the game's about. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
And so, like, you think they could do a full fucking reset of the game?
I mean, I think that it's possible. Yeah. I mean, they've talked about a level squish before, and I think that if you could take a story integration and make that level squish happen, along with like a mass, I'll call it a mass extinction event.
Yeah.
And have everything be reborn through going to the Shadowlands and coming back. Like, yeah, I think that would be probably the best way to do it, because I just think that them randomly going in like a major patch going, okay, by the way, you're all level 60, and like mechanically this is how it's going to work, but there's not really like a great reason for it other than our, you know, what we want to achieve mechanically. And I don't know, I just feel like there's better ways to do that.
I think so too. I mean, so they could basically use the level squish as a way that every single person kind of experiences this extinction event.
Yeah, I mean
that'd be badass.
And yeah, that could come in a couple different forms. That could come in the form of re-origination, the Titans re-originating our planet. That could happen. That could come in the form of N'Zoth actually being so powerful that he's able to literally fucking kill everyone, which I'm starting to think more and more is a pretty high possibility.
Well, he's really big. I mean, like, he's really big. He's an old god. I mean, like, I think that's like it's a guarantee. I mean, that N'Zoth can kill everybody, like 100%, man.
I think with that, you don't have to like I think one thing a lot of people think is if they did a reset like that, you would lose everything. I don't think that would be necessary. Like, I don't see why you couldn't.
From a gameplay perspective, I actually think that probably is necessary, if you want me to be honest.
You think so?
Absolutely.
If they wanted to like totally do a complete redux?
Yeah. Shit,
rework rather?
Yeah. I don't think we should have jumped down here. I'm doing BRD, and I'm trying to zone out of BRD, except for somebody closed the gate. So now we have to go all the way around the other direction, which means we'll have to kill all these other mobs. Do you guys want to just die? Like, I'll lose my elixir, but who cares? Do you guys want to just die and we'll just run back? I think that'd be faster.
Why do anything at all in BFA when it's literally deleted? I mean, why do anything in WoW ever when you know that there's just going to be another expansion where everything you did this expansion became irrelevant anyway? Isn't that the same line of logic?
Yeah, I basically is. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. I'm gonna get my character killed. I'm just gonna die here. Who gives a fuck?
The only thing that doesn't go is collections, I guess.
Well, I actually agree. Like, as somebody who's collected a bunch of shit, I think they have to reset everything, man. I do, because like right now there's so many mounts, pets, achievements, titles, and shit in the game, toys in the game. Like, what do you like? What can Blizzard bring out that's gonna actually get players excited in a way that, what do you call it? Get players excited in a way that's not just something that we've already seen a dozen times before. Because to
a Deathwing mount that everybody can get through LFR.
Yeah, wow, oh my god, I can't wait to get the Deathwing mount and like literally ride on Deathwing, dude. Like, because like, I mean, you know that's not a, that's fucking Deathwing, man. Like, it's not a mount that looks like that, that's fucking Deathwing. Like,
it is Deathwing, dude.
Yeah, what year is it? It's like people used to meme about this, that one of these days we would be riding Deathwing. And
that's never happened before.
And here we are. And it's just, it's so ridiculous, man. Onyxia, yeah, now we're also riding Onyxia too. It's crazy, dude. It really is. I really don't know. Just a second. Okay, Chevy helpful, yeah. Do you think he could beat Sylvanas 1v1? Wait, who could? Deathwing? Yeah, I think Deathwing, of course, could kill Sylvanas 1v1.
Yeah.
Like, Deathwing is like... it wouldn't even be close. Like, Deathwing is a massively powerful, gigantic, like, the most powerful. He's basically Sargeras of dragons, okay? Like, of course, Deathwing could
That's a great comparison.
I'm not wrong. It's pretty much the exact same fucking thing. Yeah, it wouldn't even be close. Like, Deathwing is probably the most powerful in-boss. I don't know, like, obviously more powerful than anything in Mists of Pandaria. Besides like Yasiraj.
I think Argus probably.
So what? Yeah, Argus is is the most powerful that we've ever fought. So that's actually a good question. So I wanted to bring this up earlier. So you said before that the Heart of Azeroth says that whenever Azeroth dies, everybody else dies. So
well, not necessarily. That's what I interpret from it.
Okay, well, in the lore though, like whenever Argus died in the Burning Throne, what happened to all the people that were, and like the Iridar and everything, and the monsters that were created from Argus?
That's a good question.
Yeah. Because if that was explained, it would kind of create precedent over what would happen with Azeroth.
Well, it depends on, and this is kind of info that we don't really have.
Yeah.
And side point, I'm kind of bummed because I applied for my media pass too late for BlizzCon this year, and I was hoping to do some interviews and actually ask some of these kinds of questions, but now I'm not going to be able to, so kind of...
Here's the thing, man. Like, anyway. One thing that's really good is that I feel like Blizzard has been a lot more open with interacting with creators. And so, like, you never know. I mean, if you just got a way to just, like, talk to one of them, they might agree to doing a video anyway. Like, even just, like, online.
That would be...
I mean, they've done it before.
That's
like,
a good idea.
Ian, listen, guys. If you're watching from Blizzard, give Pyromancer a war interview. We all want to see it. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, we'd love to see that. We need to see more stuff about the war. Getting people excited
the real
about
questions.
Yeah. Get people excited about the fucking story again. Why do people play fucking Wrath? It's because of the story. Like, that's why it was so cool. So, like, I don't know why they don't realize that and try to capitalize on it more, because I feel like it's a massive thing.
Yeah. I would love to be able to sit down and actually have a discussion about, like, things like the validity of Chronicle and, like, little things I've noticed here or there, and just see how they react. Even if they're like, yeah, you know, that's a good idea, but that's, you know, I don't think that's the route we're going. That'd be fine. Like, that'd be great. Just get a confirmation. Yeah, like, something like that. But, yeah, I don't know. It's, the Sylvanas thing is weird. I still think that there's, as Sylvanas keeps alluding to, there's still some kind of truth that we're gonna accept or something. And N'Zoth did have some quotes. I think it was back from Crucible of Storms, where he says things like, "At last, embrace the truth of Shadow." And you know, it turns out Sylvanas is, you know, in some capacity working with N'Zoth, and she's talking about this truth that we're gonna learn. And you know, if that's anything to do with Shadow, I think
that's
that
the thing. Like, but like what I was saying earlier, what we were saying earlier is like the Shadow thing. Like, I don't know. Maybe these are like two different forces, right? And same as like there's like, because Sylvanas is talking purely about death, not Shadow, not Void, anything. She's talking about death. And that's why I think that this might be like a new force. I'm feeling like we're probably gonna see. So, how do you feel about you know, Bon Swambi working for Hakkar? How do you think that's true or anything or no?
So, okay, that directly I'm not sure. Here's the thing. The Zandalari definitely used to worship Hakkar. Like, I have no question about that. There was a blood plague that was caused by Hakkar that wiped out half the Zandalari population.
And also half of Ironforge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Half of everything else. But the thing is that I definitely think they used to worship him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that necessarily makes... Basically what the leak was saying was that Bon Samdi is kind of swindled into being subservient to Hakkar, and that normally Bon Samdi wouldn't be. We also, I mean, remember when we were doing those quests in Nazmir and there's that huge, gigantic blood moon? Well, you know, like that big red moon thing behind his temple. That's something that's generally attributed to Hakkar, the blood moon thing. Right. And I'm pretty sure Hakkar only rises during blood moons. So that's kind of weird that Bon Samdi has that, whatever that is, and we have absolutely no idea what that is. Because once again, Blizzard just decided to not explain that. So I don't know about the validity of the whole Hakkar Bon Samdi thing. I think it's possible, I guess, but do I think it's by Bon Samdi's own choice? Probably not.
Well, is Hakkar more powerful than Bon Swambi?
I don't know. Like, I don't know. Bon Samdi, it seems like when people stopped... Because Bon Samdi obviously hasn't been worshipped for a long time. Like, his temple's dilapidated. Like,
nobody gives a fuck about that guy.
Yeah, honestly, and part of the reason for that, I think, is because of the first Zandalari king, I believe, took them out of the swamps of Nazmir and built the City of Gold, right? Whatever what's his fucking name? The one that we... King Dazar?
King Dazar, yeah. How do I not know that immediately? I've killed him about 80 times. Still no mount, by the way.
So I don't have any of those dungeon mounts. Feels bad, man.
2 or 3.
He took the Zandalari out of the swamps of Nazmir and built the City of Gold or whatever, which ended up being a Titan-related facility, which is kind of strange. But anyway, it would seem that because of that, Bon Samdi wasn't worshipped for a long time. An interesting thing about Hakkar is that he's not present in any of the Titan records anywhere. It's as if the Titans had absolutely no idea that Hakkar ever existed.
Do you think it's like a situation where he was... Do you think Hakkar was maybe like created in the same way that Gahun was? Yeah. To be honest with you, I think that the reason why Hakkar is stricken from the records of the Titans is because they didn't want any record of Hakkar ever existing. I think it's another instance of the Titans creating something and not being able to admit that they fucked up and letting their pride, that they fucked up
dictate them.
With Gahun?
I mean, they threw it down a chute into a disposal containment center thing,
like they did with
all their other failures. Yeah, they threw it like the room you fight. What's that like Hydra thing called? That runs around the room. What's that thing called?
The Feta Devourer.
Yeah, that thing. That thing is in a room called the Gallery of Failures.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the Titans apparently took their failed experiments and just threw them down a trash chute.
Like, you know, hey, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I don't...
Yeah, I mean, like, what else are they gonna do with them?
It just kind of seems like it's possible that the Titans made some really fucked up shit, and Vectis, being the source of the blood plague, probably has to do with something with the creation of Hakkar, and the Titans probably wanted that completely stricken from the record.
Wow.
I mean, it wouldn't shock me if they are their keepers or whatever, because they're, you know, keepers are how they do things on Azeroth, are responsible for the creation of some of these really fucked up things that we fight, like Gahun. I mean, that's a perfect example of something that they should have never created, but they did.
Well, why should they have not created Gahun?
Well, I mean, that thing is like it's like a, what do you mean? Like it's like a monstrosity of like disease and plague and fucking...
Well, nobody else, I mean, like Gahun seemed like it was kind of they just kept them down there. It wasn't really a big deal. I mean, people went down there.
What?
Well, what was Gahun doing down there? Nothing, really, right? I mean,
he was what?
No, okay, all right. Well, then this is why you're on. Educate me on how I'm wrong.
Chat. Sorry, guys. I don't know what the bruh.
Yeah.
Gahun was spreading his influence through Nazmir. The whole reason for the blood trolls and them attacking the Zandalari and like doing these crazy blood rituals, that's all Gahun's fault. So that whole expansion of the blood trolls in Nazmir and the faceless ones and all that stuff, that's all Gahun.
Really?
So I mean,
I thought that the blood trolls were trying to get to Gahun and they were trying to like release Gahun or something like that. And it was more
don't you think that's a pretty bad thing?
Well, yeah, I mean, but it's not really his fault. He's just sitting there. You know, I mean, like it's like kind of Titans shouldn't have. Maybe they shouldn't have made him, right? Maybe they shouldn't have made him. But he's just sitting there. You got these assholes trying to go get him out of jail. Like, he's just sitting there, not doing anything.
He's just sitting out there being a slimy boy, dude.
Yeah. I can agree. You know, probably. All things considered, probably not a good idea to make him, right? Maybe not a good idea. But like if they're making him to try to learn more about like how the old gods work, it seems like it's kind of, that at least kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I can agree with that if it was for the express purpose of trying to derive more about the old gods, which is what we're led to believe. But either way, like, I think it, for me anyway, it's important because it kind of illustrates that the Titans don't necessarily...
Titans are not infallible.
Yeah, they don't make perfection. Like, they're not... Exactly.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. I mean, I think that, like, the Titans are... And, like, you even saw that with Algalon, right? I mean, in a way, like, Algalon kind of showed the Titans weren't perfect because they were going to re-originate the planet, right? And so obviously, like fighting, like you're basically fighting against the Titans, and it's not even like, you know, a misguided thing. Like the Titans were actually like, yeah, this shit is fucked. We got to get rid of it, you know. And so I don't know, like re-originating the planet, like at the end of the expansion or something like that. I would be, I don't know. I want to see the game. I want to see them do something that's like that's like really big like that, rather than just kind of doing another expansion with 10 levels, 3 new zones, and, you know, 4 or 5 new raids. You know, I think that it's time for them to do something that's a little bit more off the wall.
Ambitious?
Ambitious, yeah. I think ambitious is a good word. Yeah, to be a little bit more ambitious with what they're doing. Because, like, right now, I don't think they're being very ambitious at all. I think they're just kind of doing, like, I think they're being ambitious with their story. I mean, to be fair, I think so. Yeah. Because I feel like a lot of times, like, I don't think they would have done this like 5 years ago, like, you know, 3 years ago or something. Because, like, they wouldn't want to, like, kill off characters or anything like that. It's like the Mists of Pandaria story was pretty safe. It's the same as the Cataclysm one. These are all, like, very safe, like, you know, feel-good stories. But this is much more complex and a lot darker, too.
True. I agree. And, I mean, I think their effort in wanting to improve or at least emphasize said story is pretty evident, considering the fact that we've received what's it been, like 3 or 4 high-res cinematics that you would normally only ever get at an expansion launch.
I am so happy
we just got a
doing
6-minute.
Like,
yeah,
we
just got a 6-minute high-res cinematic.
Badass. Like the fact that they're even doing that. Like I've been saying, dude. Like I've always wanted. I talked to somebody at Blizzard. I said, if I could have any cinematic at fucking high-res, I would have wanted the End of Argus cinematic. Like, if I could have had that, man, and, like, make that, like...
Sargeras in high-res?
Yeah, Sargeras, fucking high-resolution. Like, that could have been, like, the ultimate fucking, like, Space Satan in, like, 4K, dude. Oh, my God, that would have been incredible.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
That's a fucking fat Kriegasm right there, dude.
Yeah, man, and, like, have him talk to Illidan. Like, I was so disappointed they didn't really have, like, more of that story expanded on. You know, they just basically sat him in his chair and they're like, all right, fuck you. And that was about it. I really wanted to see more of it to it.
There's some, like we discussed last time, man, if that red star in the sky ever goes away, you know.
And that's like the heart of Sargeras, right?
I think it's his soul, yeah. And people are going to be like, what the fuck? This guy's a retard. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Mm-hmm. But... you check out the videos, dude. I'm telling you.
Well, I feel like that makes a lot of sense, right? Because if Sargeras is like the main force against the Void, I feel like Sargeras, like we have not seen the last of Sargeras.
No, we have not.
There's no way, because like it's the same as Illidan, you know, okay, all right, we've got to break out Illidan again to get people engaged with the fucking game, you know, and they did that with Legion. That worked out really well too, by the way. Worked out great. So I think that they could just do that again. I'd be completely fine with that.
Yeah, and what would be even, if in my opinion, even fucking scarier is if Sargeras doesn't come back like in accordance with his own will. Like if he comes back as on their side, I don't know if that's going to turn out very well. I think that'd be a cool way for them to actually re-originate the world. Not that I don't think they'd ever actually do this, but I think it'd be awesome if they like.
They're pussies, dude. There's no way they'd do it. There's no way they'd do it.
I think they light fuck Sargeras and he comes back and fucking light forges us, and we realize
I always
how
thought
fucked
of them like unleashing Sargeras as kind of like a. Same as like Illidan, right? Illidan wasn't real. Illidan is on our side, but he's also not at the same time. Like Illidan's basically on his own side as well.
Illidan was like a teammate, but he always fought for like that grander scheme, and that's kind of. Illidan's like a little micro Sargeras. Did you need those? Is that the thing you want?
I do need them. I have probably passed on those shoulders. I'm not even kidding, like 30 times. Like every single time I do it, I'm like tanking or something else like that, and I don't feel like it would be fair for me to need on them, so I never do. And so I've let these shoulders fucking get away every single time. Like Eleanor came in, he's like, all I need is the shoulders. I'm like, okay, fine, fucking, you know, go after him. And I've been passing on, I've been cucking myself on these shoulders ever since the first week of the game, or second week of the game actually. Like I need to eventually get them.
Dude.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you don't dream. Like, well, yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess I want to see Blizzard take a big chance in terms of like making the lore impact the game. Like, whenever we went to Argus, I think we talked about this before too. Is like I was thinking like this would be a perfect time for Blizzard to like, you know, same as like Turalian have been fighting in Argus for like thousands of years or whatever, 1,000 years or whatever. They could have moved the entire story forward in like Azeroth by like 70 years or something like that. And like narratively.
Yeah. And the timeline stuff, yeah, the timeline stuff's so fucking confusing. Like someone in my Discord who's like way more 5-head than me, was talking about some shit like, technically, with how time passes in Outland, that while Illyria and Turalian were on Outland, we as the player had actually at that time been traveling to alternate Draenor and dealing with the events of Warlords of Draenor during the time that Illyria and Turalian were on Draenor, on Outland rather, and that because of how the time ways work, that was actually happening at the same time. It's way too 5-head for me, but that's it's like, it was like, okay, well, that's a good reason why I don't like time travel in any games, because it's really fucking confusing.
Like even in Avengers, I was like, okay, dude, like we're gonna do this?
Yeah, it's like, way too much. Time is so annoying.
Please, because it just opens up all these questions. Like, oh, we're gonna go back in time to beat Thanos. Why don't you just go back in time to whenever Thanos was a kid and kill him? You know, or like he's like fucking like, you know, not a kid, right? That's a little bit too mean, right?
Kill little baby
but let's say,
Thanos.
yeah, like 20, like 19, you know. Well, yeah, beat his ass then. It's just like, you know, going back in time to kill Hitler or something like that. It's just, you go into that and like you just open up 1,000 different possibilities, right? They explained that. Yeah, but like
I think
what
they do, yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, no. Go finish.
Time travel is confusing in stories, and it often it often creates more questions than it solves.
Yeah. Who was it that wanted to go back and kill him as a baby? Was that Star-Lord? Who wanted to do that?
I don't remember. I think it was Star-Lord. Like, I'm like 90% sure it probably was Star-Lord. I forgot like what the rationale was behind it, but yeah, I know it wasn't really possible.
Oh, War Machine? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Any time that the time, well, no pun intended there. Any time that time comes into it, it's like a new level of confusing. And in any universe, I've never really liked time travel.
Yeah, it just adds like a huge another like layer. I feel like the Black Dragon fight, like, or not Black, the Bronze Dragon fight, like the way that they're basically, like, let's be real, they're pretty much a plot device to allow people to go back and do old raids in like, you know, previous like games, right?
At this point, yeah.
Like, I'm fine with that. All right, yeah, sounds good. Whatever, you know, ends outweigh the means. I'm happy, but overall, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
And it's really annoying too, because it makes it seem like there's all these alternate timelines, and you could just go to alternate Azeroth and like everything would
Recruit an
be
army
like
of
okay,
Saurfangs.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's like no, it's I don't know, and it's fucking dumb because once again they only put it in Chronicle how the timelines work, and apparently there's only like one real and true timeline that actually matters, and so all the stuff that they illustrated. That. Yeah, it's laid out real clear. It's great, Kappa. No, it's fucking terrible. So, I wish for a redemption story for Sylvanas, but it's probably not going to happen.
No way, dude. Like, I mean, she's a crazy ass bitch, man.
It's pretty much
no way. I mean, like at a certain point, you just can't have a redemption arc for. It's like I wouldn't want to see like even for her story, I wouldn't want to see a redemption arc, right? Yeah. It's just. It's the same as like I wouldn't want to see a redemption arc for Arthas or for like a lot of other characters either. It's like giving a redemption arc almost like the Joker or something like that in Batman. Like just a redemption arc. It's a fucking Joker. Like he's a bad guy.
Someone said something in the chat, kind of interesting right there. They said, "How do we know that we're in the right timeline?"
That's true.
I don't know.
That's true.
Maybe the giant
never
sword
know.
Stuck in our fucking planet.
Yeah, they could try to, have pull some kind of weird ass shit on us. So you never know.
We could be in the third timeline. You never know.
Yeah. So so basically, you think Sylvanas is gonna die, right?
I think we're all gonna die. To be honest, to be fair.
Okay.
I mean, I think. What I think would be cool, and I know not everyone's gonna agree with this, and I understand. Some people it's lame, some people it's unlikely. I get it, but I think it would be cool if at some point Sylvanas basically ascended to become like a Valkyr or like the queen of the Valkyr or something like that. Given her continued interaction with them, her deal with Helya. I mean, I think it would be sweet if she ended up becoming. Basically like a harbinger of light and shadow and basically like an angel of like death, and I don't know, I think that'd be fucking sweet. It'll probably never happen, but they do say a couple things in the Edge of Night story where Sylvanas first interacts with the Valkyr, where Sylvanas is the Valkyr. I don't know if it's Sylvanas self-recognizing or what it is, but basically says that Sylvanas has like the heart of a warrior. And that's basically what all those Valkyr are. They're like warrior women who fought.
Yeah.
For their. Yeah, exactly. And so they died in a certain way, and they became Valkyr. And it does say in there, that Sylvanas has that heart of a warrior, and she does have a very hard, apparently quite evidently hard to control like temper that causes her to do really bad things. And she really needs to learn to fucking control that. But, I don't know. There's a lot of quotes from old gods and old god related things that talk about making your rage a weapon and using it, if you use it in the right way, you can accomplish.
Harness your hatred and rage.
Yeah, harness your hate, and if, I don't know, maybe Sylvanas is trying to do that, and maybe it'll end up being effective for her. But as everything has turned out so far, that has not been the case. Sylvanas has. While she's united everybody, and I think that's pretty likely.
I don't think she intended that to happen.
You think so?
Probably not. No.
It could. I mean, it's so confusing because if Sylvanas can just fucking butt blast Saurfang like that and just destroy him with like what, as you pointed out, she was basically putting no effort into that fight, and. It just makes me wonder, like, if she can do that, obviously for the plot depends on it, but why wouldn't she just decimate the others at the same time? Like, I think there's some reason why she hasn't completely dismantled it from the inside out at this point. Because if you ask me, she definitely could have killed Bane. She obviously just killed Saurfang. She could have had Thrall killed if she put legitimate effort into it. Anduin could have been assassinated. She stood face to face with Anduin, only feet from him before. Yeah. And Anduin's well aware that with a single wail, she can kill Anduin. So she's had those opportunities, but I don't think that.
You think it's just so they have content for the next patch? I mean, It's like how
I don't know,
how
it's-
Ashara is like, oh, I'm just teasing you and testing you all the way while you're in there, and you know this bullshit.
I would like to think that she's still, and I think that her dialogue illustrates this, still has some kind of plan. And I think that it's really fucking annoying, and I think at this point a little bit too drawn out of Blizzard to not show
just
you
be like, okay,
what-
this is what's going on.
Yeah, like just fucking so people will just shut up. Like so we can just I don't know. I think it could be handled better 100%, but I do still think that there's something a little bit more going on here, something that's being dictated by higher forces, cosmic forces. Obviously the one for Sylvanas being death. And so we'll see what happens, but at this point they're kind of putting themselves in a position with the storytelling that a lot of players are not, like you said, they're not gonna
accept
like
Sylvanas like working. Oh, she was on our side all along. Yeah, fucking right, dude. Yeah, fucking right. It's like at least Illidan, like Illidan was always kind of cool. You know, Illidan was always kind of cool. Like Sylvanas at this point, man, she gets mad all the time. Like, come on, man. Like, there's nothing good about her. It's just, I don't know, man. Like, I mean, just like a person, it's like, it's not somebody like, at least in Warcraft 3, Illidan was like kind of a badass. You know, he was working against the Burning Legion. And it's like, you know, he was like kind of on our side, but he wasn't at the same time.
I think Sylvanas is pretty, I don't know, dude. I think Sylvanas is pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie, man. I think her like, I don't give a fuck about your existence and I'm literally gonna decimate you is like an interesting take from someone who's actually part of the factions. Like that's just my opinion. Like when you compare her to her sisters like Illyria's okay as far as like her storyline and everything goes with the Void and all that stuff. Varisa, probably one of the worst characters ever in the history of World of Warcraft.
I forgot her name.
Like, when you look at characters like Malfurion, while Malfurion's super powerful and like what he is kind of cool, not exactly the most interesting or excitingly written character.
Do anything.
Tyrande is the same way.
He's literally asleep half the time.
Like most of the characters in the game are pretty, I hate to say this, but most of the big like faction leaders are pretty fucking boring.
Well, of course they do that because they don't want them doing anything that's going to upset the players, you know?
They don't want them to die.
Yeah, they don't want them to die, exactly.
And I don't know. I think probably, I think you're right. I think the only way that they could have the majority of players see anything from Sylvanas more than her just being evil is probably for her to have some kind of big self-sacrifice moment where she literally gives herself to save everybody else. But that's really like I don't know. I don't think that's probably going to happen.
That seems out of character.
That just doesn't. I agree. Like it doesn't seem like what she would want to do. And I don't think that given what she's talking about, this whole death thing, that seems counterintuitive.
Yeah,
so I don't think that's going to happen.
I mean, we'll see. I'm sure that I'm just glad they're putting more effort and time into the stories and everything like that. That's the main thing, right? I think that if they do that more and they get more people involved in the stories, people will enjoy the game more and they'll feel better about like killing bosses and, you know, having patches come out, etc. And not just being like, oh, okay, there's more stuff for us to do. But yeah, I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to do my my recruitment drive for my guild. So I do really appreciate you coming on, man. Like it's good to actually see some real input. And maybe whenever McConnell's here, we can do a round 2 of this and you know, take some questions and everything from chat too. But it does mean a lot.
Yeah, that'd be fun, dude. We could talk about some trees again, and yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, perfect, man. Well, listen, anybody, if you guys don't know who I'm talking to Pyromancer. Search Pyromancer on YouTube. If somebody wants to link his YouTube channel, he does a lot of war videos. We've watched a number of them already. Puts a lot of work into figuring out, you know, the different ins and outs of what's going to happen and everything else in between. So make sure that you guys give him a follow, and thank you very much for coming on, man. I really fucking appreciate it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, chat. Love you guys. Well, most of you. Some of you are Pepega, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys later.
Okay,
Thanks,
all right, man. I'll see you later, man. Peace.